first set of announcements that take you through the features and the capabilities of this mobile security suite for the enterprise user as well as for the consumer. We're also going to take you through a little bit of the work that we've done to create and invest in and establish this global threat center that provides 24/7 around-the-clock global monitoring of all mobile security threats to consumers and to enterprise customers. And then third, we're going to talk about some partnerships and the work that we're doing with our partners to help secure enterprise customers as well as consumers and really enable this type of solution to have impact. Now, it's a real pleasure. We've got some guests here today. David Merrill, who's a strategist and the Chief Information Security Office at IBM. He's going to share a perspective of what IBM is doing to fundamentally secure the mobile internet and the range of smartphones and mobile devices that are connecting to IBM's network and how that translates to a set of solutions that they are focused on. We're also pleased to have Mark Patterson join us today from BT, General Manager of the Mobile Data Services, and he's going to talk a little bit about the set of offerings that they've created to take to market to help their customers have a more secure mobile internet experience. And John Donovan, the Chief Technology Officer at AT&T, is joining us via video to share a perspective on how AT&T thinks about the security opportunity and some of the implications from a security standpoint in the network. And so let's just kick it off by starting with sort of the perspective on what John has to say. So let's go ahead and roll that video if we could, please. Thank you.
We as a company focus a lot of our energy in trying to discover the landscape of threat, find it early, find it in the network, and never allow it to manifest itself to an end user or an end device. A lot view us by the size of the corporation and employees and revenue, the total investment dollars that we make, and over the last several of years we've been among the top, if not the top, investor in the United States in infrastructure. So security and privacy and some of the things that as a company have become foundations of our reputation become more challenging each and every day. When it comes to securing the network, there is an amount of collaboration that's really required in the ecosystem. And in the area of the mobile network connection of security, it'll be no different. And I think you'll see companies differentiate. We certainly have always differentiated ourselves and plan to continue to differentiate ourselves by the breadth of security offerings that we provide. People are using their smartphones and mobile broadband. With that comes, an enhanced threats. The best way to manage threats is before they find their way to the handsets. And so we very much think a network-based solution is where we hope to catch everything. We're practical enough to realize that doesn't occur. You need a handset solution that works in conjunction with the network solution. We're interested in security as a service and security as a foundation. So we can expect that at both the handset and the network, we're going to do everything we can for prevention, and we're going to make enhanced services available for enterprises and consumers as service offerings that we would present out for folks who are willing to say, for that extra amount of security, I'm willing to pay for that peace of mind, and I'm willing to pay for that peace of mind for my family. And we think about it in the context of all of the other assets that we have, whether that's parental controls about when a young child can get text messages to which things they watch on television. So our entire infrastructure operates with that philosophy. I'm John Donovan, Chief Technology Officer at AT&T.
Good morning. As you heard from Kevin and John, we really are all living the mobile dream. The killer application is indeed having the internet and all the power of the internet in the palm of our hands, and in some cases the crook of our elbow with tablets coming as well. Being able to socially network, to find information, to be entertained anywhere, anytime on a diversity of networks is amazingly powerful. So what is the next killer application, and what's really missing? That's what we want to talk about today, and specifically the next killer application we think is peace of mind. Now, as we get more and more dependent on the internet, in a mobile fashion with all these devices as we start to bring them to work, as we want to be productive with very sensitive data, as we start to store passwords, credit card information, personal information, start to download data from our workplaces, and for that matter, as consumers at home, there's more and more vulnerability that we have. And what we're missing is the peace of mind to know that that device and our connection and our relationship with that internet in the palm of our hand is actually safe. Now, is that a really valid concern right now? Does it really impact everybody? Well, yes, it does. Again, more and more of us are bringing our phones to work, and 9 out of 10 of us, go back one, 9 out of 10 of us are very concerned about security of those devices and our access to sensitive data and intellectual property and our own data as well. And 3 out of 10 people in 2009 actually were compromised in some way in their mobile experience, either email or SMS spamming or malware or spyware, at least that they know about, 3 out of 10. That's a pretty significant number. This is not a theoretical threat. And it does travel the same sort of growth pattern that we saw in the PC space as they started to get connected to the internet in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now, for service providers, this presents an enormous opportunity. There are 1 billion mobile workers in the world today, people that want to be able to connect to sensitive data wherever they are. And a third of the workforce globally by the year 2013 will be mobile as well. This is an opportunity for service providers to monetize a value-added extra service that provides that safety, that defense of all of our mobile lives, and to do that on a broad basis at amazing scale. For consumers, as I mentioned, most of us, 8 out of 10 of us, store some kind of really sensitive data on these phones. And there are many ways to access that data electronically and through spyware, malware, viruses, and other vectors that I'll talk about. But just the prospect of losing the phone or having it stolen is terrifying. These become not only the internet in the palm of our hand, but the life in the palm of our hand. Or if we're workers, the office in the palm of our hand that happens to also be our personal life, going back and forth. As Kevin said, 40% of us, at least, depending on the country, even more in many cases, are using phones for both personal and business use. So for consumers, in the United States alone, over 2 million phones stolen or missing last year. That's a big number. If you're one of those 2 million, you've had that experience of losing your identity, losing your data. And it's a big worry. So we're pleased today to be introducing 3 announcements, the first of which is, for the first time, the Junos Pulse Mobile Security Suite. Now, you'll see offerings from some of our competitors that may have point offerings in this space around one platform or a particular aspect of security, but this is the first time you have this level of depth of security across all the threat vectors that we're seeing in the mobile space. When we talk about antivirus, we're talking about preventing and identifying spyware, viruses themselves, looking at other threats where code insertion may be a problem, basically monitoring the health of the phone based on all the intelligence that we have about threats that are coming into the mobile space. A personal firewall, so that you're able to filter out bad content. And very importantly, device monitoring and control. Not just for one platform, not just for one phone, but for the diversity of phones that you may own. Again, more and more of us are multi-device power consumers or power workers. That means that we may have different operating systems, we may have different form factors in our smartphones, in our tablets, in our PCs, notebooks, and netbooks. So the ability to be able to monitor those smartphones and mobile devices, to be able to control the content and watch what's happening, to be able to secure sensitive data and shut down access from potential applications that we download that shouldn't be doing accessing certain data is very important. Being able to shut down spam, to be able to stop the SMS and the email threats that come through spamming, very important. And I think the vast majority of us have started to receive these nasty messages that we'd rather do without, and that often are trying to link us to malware attacks as well. And last but not least, for those 2 million people and the people around them who are afraid of losing or having their phone stolen with all the data on board, theft and loss protection. So the ability to find your phone, to be able to identify and locate it on a map, to be able to wipe it and shut it down and shut down its access if you indeed have lost it for good. Very, very important functionalities, and this is what defending your mobile life is about. So we're very excited to be announcing the deepest set of functionality for the mobile security world with this announcement today. Now, what does this mean? Well, for enterprises, it's a whole suite of functionality that allows us to enable people to bring whatever phone they have into work and be productive and be safe and to secure our intellectual property as a company. So the ability to find a phone, to be able to wipe data, to be able to stop access rights when the phone is lost or stolen immediately and do so remotely. Very, very important. We're also combining access and security for the first time. No other vendor offers authentication with encryption to tunnel safely into the intranet environment, offer access to enterprise applications remotely on the go in a completely safe fashion, as if you were sitting at your desk, but remotely. Doesn't matter whether you're on a 3G network, a Wi-Fi network, you have that accessibility, and you know that your endpoint is safe and secure with the mobile security suite. That combination is the new secure network client for mobility, and that's what we're announcing. We're also able to enforce policies consistently across the entire network. So you hear from one of our major customers today and how they think about that. But the ability to, across devices, be able to offer consistent policy on a global basis so that everybody has the same kind of safety, security for the devices is very important. And then at the end of the day, to keep it really simple, to have a nice integrated client that's very easy to access on a phone, doesn't require a lot of technical configuration, very, very simple to set up, and the back-end ability to go monitor and manage these policies consistently, simply, and at low cost. Very, very important. And again, to do it across the full range of security functionality that we're talking about, not one phone or one silo at a time, the way some of our competition, all of our competition, approaches the problem. Now, for service providers, as I mentioned, this is an unparalleled opportunity to monitor